the first paranormal investigator, and for those of you who don't know, this is an image of Laurel and Hardy. Now, the term paranormal investigator can conjure up all sorts of images. For many, it may be the gizmo-latent stars of recent paranormal reality shows or the proton pack wearing Ghostbuster. Others may think of a team of boffins in the university department, or perhaps a well-known figure such as Harry Price, who is often considered the father of paranormal investigation as we know it today. But who was the first paranormal investigator? To answer that question, we have to travel back over 2,000 years to ancient Greece and the first recorded foray into ghost hunting. Athenodorus Cananites, 74 BC to 7 AD, was a Stoic philosopher and a teacher of Octavian or Caesar Augustus, whose ghostly tale was recorded for posterity by the Roman letter-writing Pliny the Younger, 61 to 112 AD. Pliny states that there was a large house in Athens with an unsavory and unhealthy reputation. The sound of what appeared to be weapons clashing and chains clanking could be heard at night emanating from within. This phenomena was soon followed by the spectral appearance of a filthy, emaciated old man with scraggly hair and beard, his hands and feet bound with fetters which rattled as he moved them. And this, as you can imagine, had a profound effect on all who lived there. They endured sleepless nights, and their minds were subjected to horrors, such as an extent that some inhabitants of Athens even died from fear. It was not too long before the house stood empty, finally deserted. It remained quiet, but when it was eventually put back up for sale, no one was interested. But then Athenodorus, the philosopher, arrived in Athens. He saw the house was for sale. Reading the posted bill, he discovered the dwelling's price. The extraordinary cheapness raised his suspicion, and he inquired about it further. No one held back on the house's horrific reputation, but the philosopher was not in the least put off, and indeed he was eager to take the place, and did so immediately. Even as evening drew near, Athenodorus had a couch prepared for him in the front section of the house. He asked for a torch, a stylus, and writing tablet, and then dismissed his retainers for the night. To keep his mind from being distracted by imaginary noises and apparitions, he decided to direct all his energy towards his writing. At first the night was silent, and then came the rattling of the chains. Athenodorus neither lifted up his eyes nor laid down his pen, but the noises increased and seemed to grow closer and closer, until eventually they seemed to be in his very chamber. Athenodorus looked up and saw the apparition exactly as it had been described to him. It stood before him, beckoning with a finger, showing what to me seems like a remarkable amount of stoicism. Athenodorus made the sign with his hand that the spectre should wait a little, and bent over his work once more. The ghost, however, had other ideas, and shook his chains over the philosopher's head, beckoning as before. Athenodorus now looked up at his torch and followed the spectral old man. The ghost moved slowly, as if held back by his chains, and once it reached an open area in the house's courtyard, the ghost disappeared. Athenodorus grabbed a handful of grass and leaves and placed it on the spot where the ghost had vanished. The next day, Athenodorus called the magistrate. In his official capacity, he dug up the spot that had been marked, and there they found the bones that were all that remained of a long-buried body which had been bound with chains. Carefully, they collected the skeletal relics and gave them a proper burial. The tortured soul was now at rest, and the house in Athens was now peaceful once more. At the end of the day, this account is probably best considered to be a simple, good story. It has many of the traits of an urban legend: the unhealthy house, the tormented spirit with a purpose, the clanking of chains, and finally, laying to rest of a body are common to so many other tales. This, combined with the fact that Pliny could not have heard Athenodorus's account firsthand, as their lives did not overlap, means that they have to take it all with a pinch of salt. What I do find interesting though, is even in those ancient times, there was an interest in this kind of story, the details of which can still be seen in countless other stories since then, although I suspect that had Athenodorus been around today, he would have taken a digital voice recorder and camera along with his writing equipment on that fateful night. And this is on Solask. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.